right, I just got a hold of Bob on the phone and he's in a different time zone, so he is coming on right now shortly. So that's good news. Otherwise, we would have had to pull somebody from the audience to teach for us. Welcome, everybody. This is a class that we do for monthly, and we put it on for the NCE. And we're just trying to get a little bit more education for some of the brokers that aren't familiar with exchanging or debt equity type of marketing. And so I know we have a ton of people on the phone that are very, very experienced. And so we appreciate them. And what we want to do is just make sure that this meeting is Bob Steele. If he calls on you or wants communication from the group, then he can have it, but it'll be Bob's meeting for about 30, 45 minutes. And then after Bob comes on, Chuck Trice does the mural board, and he does a great job with it. And it's a really good way to track all of your different properties that come up at the exchange groups. And so Chuck is going to come on and just show us a real quick example of that, because he has it tied into Bob Steele's new electronic version of the 300 ways or 300 formulas. So now that we have Bob on, let me find him and unmute him. Bob, can you unmute yourself? Let me see where.
Got it. Okay.
Well, Bob, welcome. For those of you who don't know Bob, I'll let him do his own introduction. He is really just has an amazing amount of experience, and I'm so thankful that he agreed to come on and share with us today. So he's going to just give us a brief introduction to equity marketing, and then we'll go from there. How are you doing today, Bob?
Just fine, thank you. Sorry for the follow-up on the time. This was, as I understood, it was going to be some people that were newer to exchanging, and I'm looking at a couple of people there that are anything but new to exchanging. So jump right in, gentlemen and ladies, if you can, and be of help. So let me background just a little bit for the exchange business. When Dick Reno started it, it was in contrast to it was a different name than CCIM at the time, but it was a case where the people became more important than the property. Okay, so the thing that happened then was that the real estate took a second seat. And what I'd like to explain is people are new here, and I don't know everyone. The opportunities for your living is so different in the exchange group. There's nothing like it in the world, I don't believe, as far as I've ever seen. The camaraderie and the associations you make are just beyond belief. Bob Baines down in Mexico come up with a statement that the right way to do life is never live in the country you're born in, never own real estate in the country you're living in or the one you were born in. In other words, this is really an international thing that's happening. And what we're doing, we're still in the throes of the transition from local to national, and we really need to be international now. Right now, I think I got 3 listings internationally, own property internationally, don't own anything in the United States. In other words, you can do it the way you want to do it. And it's a life that's just beyond belief. A few years ago, 2 other SECs and myself and our wives, we went to England and we floated the Thames Path. This is a 5-week exchange meeting, okay? And we floated the Thames River. We hiked the 184 miles on the top. We lived it. It's just more fun. I made more deals, just living our life the way we want it. So then out of this thing, my 3 children, I put them on college boats going around the world in their sophomore years to teach them that the world is bigger than Newport Beach, where we live. So the other thing I want to mention too is it used to be the communications was so different. I think Chet Allen one time counted there was 6 people that flew their own airplanes. We didn't have the cell phones. We didn't have the Zoom. We didn't have computers. We didn't have any of those things in order to make our exchanges. But now you've got the most beautiful tools in the world. You've got the imagination that other brokers just don't have. In other words, you're associating with people that you're seeing there. How would you ever get a chance to sit down with Ted or Chuck or one of these people and talk to them on a first name basis? It's really just unbelievable what's coming. It really is. And so we can just get out of ourselves, and I will get to what you want to know, Dave, now, but in some of the strategies. But I do encourage you to recognize the opportunity that you have. I put all my kids on college boats in their sophomore years in college, going around the world, and you can do this now. And now with the Zoom and what we have here, and your ability to own, and I can ask questions of anybody in this room and get answers that no attorneys are going to get. We got a relationship worldwide, and it's getting, the moment we can get some funding, get some people to start thinking outside of the country, start thinking international, this thing's going, it'd be unbelievable what you can do. So I'm really fortunate to have spent so much time in this arena. So let me get a book out here, and you can go on. So what we have is a book that I'm using. It's got 12 books inside of it. Okay? There's 300 strategies, okay? Our kind of strategies. Each one begets many more. Okay? So the 12 books have each got 25 strategies about that subject. In other words, it's Dick Reno, it's got 4 books in here of Dick Reno stuff. But you get International, for instance, has got 25 strategies of how to do real estate internationally. So what I'm going to do this morning is we just get surface it. I'm going to go through. I'm going to take them one out of it until Dave says stop at another half hour or something. We're going to do formulas. So let's do number 2. Dave, do you by chance, can you hook on my website by chance? Show it? Maybe you can't.
Hook on your website?
Yeah, it says rexnet.io, REXNET. Chuck?
Awesome.
Chuck, can you hear me?
Chuck, you're muted.
Have to let me share my screen.
Okay, I let you right now. I just took the security off.
Okay. All right, we'll share my screen.
Come up with rexnet.io and put in the number 2 into the strategy search. Just put in number 2.
Okay. Now, what's that called, Bob? I'm on your dashboard.
Just number 2 is creation of wealth. It's the first Dick Reno strategy. I just wanted to. It's number 2. Oh, it's under rexnet.io. Search strategy.
There it is. Yeah, Zeckendorf technique.
Yeah, that's probably it. Okay. Well, let me just explain it. Creation of wealth is a Dick Reno title. Okay. And it's the basic one that we use all the time in this business is we create a trust deed against one property and use it to acquire another property. That's the real simple little part of it. But now you can take that into other realms. Now, a couple of your search strategies. Yeah, there you go. Now, and that's strategy number 35. I want strategy number 2. Now, with the creation of wealth strategy is to use your imagination. Well, let's go on. I'll be talking while she's doing that. Creation of wealth. So this one you can do with anything. You can do it with a personal note, $1,000, and it's creation of wealth. In other words, you're borrowing it from the future. I'm not recommending that. There it is. Creation. number 3, that's okay. You're marketing which land is not selling. Okay, so in this case, is we're showing you the different ways you can make use of that equity. Okay, now you have to, let's take a normal one. You could just create a trust deed against this and buy something with it. Okay, but now the structuring of that trust deed is really important. You can do it as a blanket mortgage, which I really like, is one in which you finance it and then you definance it. So let's say that you have something, and I have real equity here of $1 million. So I want to use whatever I'm using here, 400 or 500,000. Then I'll create a trust deed against this unit, but I'll secure it with not just this property, but with your property. So I'll give you a blanket mortgage secured by both equities. And then I'll say I want to release on this strategy number 3. I want release on this property from the note in say 3 years or 5 years. In other words, I've used it to finance the debt equity. It's not selling. So I'm making use of it in the blanket mortgage secured. You got plenty of security. Get your equity off your property plus this equity here. So you got whatever say it's $1 million on the other side. So you got equity on both sides secured by this note over both properties. Now, but we definance this note, looking into the future, 3 years or 5 years down the line. We're comfortable with each other. Payments were made, equity's gone up, principal's been paid down, et cetera, whatever comes up. But now you definance this property. You take the mortgage off of this one part, from under the blanket. You take the property out, and now you're back again with one. You don't have financing on here. Instead of trying to definance property, in this case, you can pre-definance it. So, okay, that's my personal notes. Now you can do the same thing with a trust deed. Let's say that you take in a trust deed as part of your deal. Okay, now I have in a trust deed, I have a number which is payable usually in American dollars. Okay, but it also has interest and it has principal. Now I can subdivide that only between the principal and the interest, but I can also subdivide the payment. Okay, well, how wonderful. Thank you, whoever suggested that. So let me try one more time. All right, so let's say you're carrying back a note on this property for 400,000. And all I'm saying is that you don't have to trade the whole note. You can trade part of the note. You can trade the last payment. You can trade the middle payment. You can trade the interest. You can trade the balloon. You don't have to trade the whole $400,000 note. So you use creation of wealth, but you can subdivide the creation of wealth. So, okay. One thing is true is rentals. Do you have a question? Let's say it was rentals. You can trade the rent.
Why don't we do that, and then we can go back to see if we have a better connection with Bob, because it's just not working right now. Just give us your maybe 10-minute version of it.
Okay, and let me zoom in. What I do at NCE meeting, and there's many ways people can do this, but we get taker numbers, and the numbers are very important. And each person, Tom Powell will send out a whole list of taker numbers. And it's really great because then I can take those taker numbers and I can put them into a whiteboard. And it's a digital whiteboard. You can use Zoom or you can use Miro like I do. Michael has 10 condos. This is Michael Libster, has 10 condos in Phoenix. And all the people on the first row, they have offered in, all the green ones have offered in on the 10 condos. Well, now, if Michael wanted one of those, you would have a two-way deal. If he wanted the assisted living for 900, you'd have a two-way deal. The ones down below the green line, those I've offered in on the top row. And so what I want to know, who offered in on Don's assisted living? And so I can see Chuck Sutherland did, and I can follow that trail. And like Blake, he's offered in on the 10 condos, and Blake has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 packages that have offered in on his seller carry note. So if Blake wanted, our Michael Libster on the top of the board wanted anything on the board, then we would have a three-way deal right there. So let me go out, and here is the way the board actually looks. If Blake Allen has $1,055,000 note, all the people on the first row have made offers. And Michael's 10 condos, all the people on there on the left have offered in on Michael's condo. So I just follow that trail all the way down, and that's called skidding your rig. And so when you take these numbers, you can just work out 3, 4, or 5-way deals. And that works real good. Let me see if I can, if Blake wanted Michael's deal, we would have a 2-way deal. But say Blake don't want anything on the first row, but let's say that Blake will take Bob's condo in Panama. Then Bob would take Lucas's. Lucas would take the assisted living, and the assisted living would take Tim's, and Tim's would take Blake's. And so there you would have a 5-way deal. That's the way the power of the numbers work. You can do what they call skidding your rig. You can follow those numbers all the way. But the numbers are very important at the NCE because we have to be trained to give not only our meeting number, but also our package number. Because like Blake has 10 packages, and so does people like Michael, and a lot of other people have many packages. And if you don't use your package number, I have no idea which package you're offering in on. So you need your meeting number and your package number, and then we can track those numbers. And that's basically what it is. And I've gone over, and like right here, I've done Blake's note. Everybody on this first row has offered in on Blake's, and everybody on the vertical rows have offered in on the first row. So I just build a board. This one is Shelbyville. You can see all the offers on Shelbyville. You can see all the offers on the $900,000 lease back. What I've also done is I can link to Bob's strategies. And just with the click of a button, I can link right into what Bob's having. You just type a word in there like notes, and you can see multiple notes and quantity. And so you can see exactly how to strategize. And also I've got on here NCE listings, so I can instantly go right in and say Chuck, and there's Chuck Sutherland. I can see what he's got for sale. I've come up here, and all of these links are the white arrows. I can click on it, and I can go to Michael. And then I can scroll down, and I can get it where it'll go direct. And let's see, where is Michael's condo? Oh, that's Jim Carmichael. He's on the meeting also, so I can just click on his 5 units and see what he's got there. And so that's the power of putting this digitally, and I can quickly go to anybody's package and see what's in the book.
Hey, Chuck, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
This is really beautiful work that you've done here. I'm curious, you've got each one of these boards illustrating each one of the layers as their own top of their own board. Does this system that you're doing create that output, or do you have to structure each one of those manually?
I structure each one of them manually. Like all of these right here, the top of the board, I go into the NCE numbers that they send out on the taker board, and I just figure take everybody that is offered in on Blake's seller carry note, and I put them in the system. And then I'll link everyone to NCE and also to Bob's website. And then I want to know, skidding the rig, I want to know who offered in on Michael's 10 condos in Phoenix. And I see that Don has offered in, and then I go to his packages and he becomes the top of the board, and I put all of his in. He had 3 offers. And then I go on down and see who's interested in his packages, and I just keep following it down. The easiest to see is Tim's 6 units. Assisted living offered in on that. He got 5, and then I just go down and I just keep skidding that rig, as they call it, and just build it out, and I can get 5, 6, 7, 8-way deals. Or if you come across and you find a 3-way or a 2-way deal, then that's where you stop.
So there's a meeting, there's an NCE meeting coming up in a couple of weeks, and these appear to be, well, these are the numbers from the NCE meeting. I recognize my own number up there, but those numbers will change.
Yes, those numbers will change on every single meeting. And that's why it's so important for you to get the numbers, your meeting number and your package number. And Tom sends it out as an Excel spreadsheet, and I can take that Excel spreadsheet and I can do a search that will automatically create these sticky notes if I've got all the numbers correct. So I use a combination of Excel and Tom Powell's taker board numbers, and the better the numbers, the better the board looks, the better you can find the deal. Like Steve Smullen, Steve, you had 3 or 4 packages in there, but you didn't have any package number. You just had your meeting number. So I have no idea which package you were offering in. That's why I put on there, you have several packages in the book.
Yeah, there's that whole not in the book aspect of the meeting that, sometimes we see something in the meeting that looks really great, and it's something in the back of your mind that didn't, for whatever reason, fit the criteria to be in the book.
All of those in red, the color represents meeting numbers with no package. So yeah, it's great. The only way you can find out what is being offered is to call that person up. But usually what I have found is when you call them up a week later, after we get home from the meeting, that they don't remember what they offered in on, and things in life have changed. So that's why if you have your meeting number and your package number, I can go right to it, and you can follow the trail and see what you would like. In fact,
Chuck, that was my next question is, how can I access this? Because you've really done a lot of my work for me by connecting the dots, and I should go have another view of that and follow up on those chains again.
That's correct. Because when I do this, then I will send everybody out a copy of this board, and then I can send you a link, and then we can collaborate on that board, and I can send out as many guest links as I want to, people that have an interest in, so you can get everybody on the board and they can do it in real time.
Hey, Chuck,
Yes, sir.
would you do me a favor?
I'll try.
If we have 3 or 4 people on the meeting right now that have absolutely no experience in exchanging, would you explain to them If they brought a property in, then that property would be at the top of the board for them. That would be their top of the board. Although if they see anything on the board that they want to buy, they can buy it at any time. But can you put the perspective in to a brand new broker just being exposed to exchangers?
And I'll just take this top of the board right here. This strategy is links to Bob's website, rexnet.io. But the top of the board, you can see that if you're a new presenter, you get up in front of the room and you present your package. And that's why it's very important to have your package ready to go. Then you'll go to the top of the board, and everybody in the room, when they say, let's have taker numbers, will call out their meeting number and their package number. And that is the first row that you see in the green. And so let's say you're the brand new agent up here and you get, what is here? We've got 5 offers. If you wanted one of those offers, then of course you would have a one-way transaction. You wanted Michael's and Michael's wanted yours, then you would have a one-on-one transaction, which is very traditional. But if you're the top of the board and you don't want anything on the first row that's in green, and you want Scott Hotchkiss packages, then Scott would take Michael's condos and Michael's condos would take Blake's note, and there you would have a 3-way deal. So that's how it works. When you present from the podium, expect to get a lot of numbers. And when you're in the audience, you need to call out your meeting number and your package number, because then we have a beautiful way to track those numbers.
Remember that there could be a lot of different asset classes at the top of the board. Is that correct? Like, would there be money available or notes?
You could have money, you could have notes, you could have a board for notes, a board for money, a board for not in the book. You could just do anything you would want to, and however you wanted to do it. And now Zoom also has a whiteboard, which is not quite as good as Miro, but anybody that's a participant on Zoom, you could go in and I could put somebody at the top of the board, and you could put in your own sticky notes wherever you wanted to offer in on somebody's package. If we learn how to use the whiteboard on Zoom, you can have dynamic meetings that's live and do exactly what I'm doing here.
Well, I really like the fact that it's now integrated in with Bob's book, because that makes it amazing. Because, you know, if anybody's read through that book, sometimes it's challenging to find the formulas that you want. But this is a great tool here.
Yeah, I can just click on that and I can just say, it searches for words better, but just say trust deed. And there it is, performance trust deed, note number 2, and you click on strategies, and then you can see exactly what that is. If you don't like that one, you close the window and you performance trust deed and note, and that's what Bob was talking about a little bit this morning. There it is right there. And so I've linked that to all of Bob's stuff, and I've linked everybody's stuff to NCE also.
Excellent. That makes a great tool. Does anybody have any questions for Chuck on this? Go ahead and ask him questions. And there is a version of the Miro boards that is free, but if you want the upgraded version, it's just a small expense. But most people, I believe, can get by with the free version. Chuck, don't you believe at the beginning?
Yes, you can use the free version and do everything that I've done here on the board except for linking. With Zoom, I'm not sure if you can link or not, but on Miro, you can link. And now you can put in pictures, you can put in PDFs, you could, I like to just link to NCE's website, and then I can go in and look at the properties or Bob's. And so it just makes it so much easier and so much quicker, because what we found in a meeting doing a Xander board is that people get bored real quick, and you have to have it where you move pretty fast.
Well, Chuck, where can they find some of your training online? Don't you have a digital presence online?
I do. It's called Equity Marketing Real Estate on YouTube.
Okay, you just go on there and he has all kinds of really good training. It's free. And then if you have any follow-up questions with Chuck, he'll be happy to help you out. He's just a great guy. He's part of our office, and he's just an amazing guy to work with. Thank
Hey,
you,
Chuck, a couple of things. I've been there myself, but you might want to throw a link to your YouTube channel in the chat so that we can just click on through. I've been there. You got some really, really great stuff. And I also wanted to say thank you very much for all the hard work that you've put into this. It looks just brilliant.
One other thing you see on the board, I put a note here. It says, "What is this?" I just added a shape. And I put, "Hi, Bob," because when you're on the Miro board, if you're the host of the Miro board, then I can see your cursor moving across the screen and what you're putting on the board. And so that's a very good way to collaborate. And if you put stuff on the board, I can move it or you can move it. Anybody that has a regional meeting to do a top of the board and do actual Xander board deals right live. But it all comes back down to the quality of your numbers and how you present your package and have the information we need for the board. You don't need a whole lot. The price and where it's at and who you are. And then you can structure a Xander board where you can figure out all of these deals.
I tell you, it's just amazing because when you can still get overwhelmed at the meetings, you know.
Oh, yeah.
All these numbers are coming back and forth and you can lose track. But if you take time to do a Xander board or a Miro board, you can just follow up on everything. And you could even, if you don't have any business, you could even help other people put their stuff together. So thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. Thank you for doing this. It's great. Fantastic.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Let's go back to Robert and see if we can or Bob, see if we can get him on. Bob, do you want to try it one more time? Well, I'm not sure if he's can hear me or if his connection is working at all. I really appreciate Bob coming on. I apologize for the bad audio that we had on that. Sometimes it happens, you know, so I really thank Chuck for coming on and saving us on that. We do have just a few extra minutes. Do we have any brand new people on or somebody who has not been to an exchange meeting before? Jericho, have you been to Vegas? Have you been to an?
Yes, I've been to a couple.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So any other?
I have not been to any meetings yet. I was invited on by Blake Allen. My name is Rosemary Pilati. I am a broker. I've been to SEC meetings. I am a broker in New York and Arizona.
Well, welcome. Did you have any other questions or comments? You have been to the SEC meetings before?
Yes, and they actually, at one of the last ones, they did a Xander board, but by hand. And this is great, what Chuck just went over. I love the digital version. Looks great.
Okay. I was invited, and I'll be going to my very first SEC meeting in May in Denver.
Well, I'll see you there then.
Good. I've heard such great things about the SEC. Any other new people or anybody that has some question for us? Okay, did anybody else come on? I don't see any other hands or anybody else speaking up. Any other brand new people or anybody else that has some questions on being a new exchanger or equity marketing? Thanks everybody for jumping on. Again, you know how the stress level is and how bad you feel when audio doesn't work just right. But we'll try it again next time. We'll be back on in a month. And anybody that needs to contact me for anything. We have everybody on the screen today is probably more than willing to reach out and ask questions or answer questions for you or give you some direction. See everybody in a month.